People are still taking Tylenol, shaving, eating cereal, toasting bread when the market tumbles. To everyone, including his close family, he was just Ron, the janitor. It's wealth in stealth mode. In 2026, I'm literally going to open that vault. When I first started my journey at age 19, I didn't know if it was going to work. I didn't know where it would take me, but I can tell you 32 years later, it has changed everything. I'm going to show you exactly how I've done this for 3+ decades so that you can build a system that pays you, protects you, and powers your family for generations. I want to share this story, and I would encourage listeners and viewers to go out and learn about this man. His name was Ronald Read, R-E-A-D, Ronald Read. And he passed away, I think it was November of 2014 in Vermont. And there wasn't anything on his tombstone to suggest that the people who knew him would gasp in disbelief, literally, when the contents of his finances came to light. He was 92 when he passed. He spent his life working as a gas station attendant, a part-time janitor at JCPenney. And to every neighbor and coworker, he was the sort of guy who wouldn't draw any attention, right? He drove a modest car. He never bragged about anything. No flashy business cards, no social media, no clue that behind his unassuming exterior was one of the greatest financial transformations built over decades. Patience. By the time he drew his final breath, he amassed an $8 million dividend reinvestment program. $8 million. And that process began for him, I think, if I can recall, somewhere in the 1950s, long before commission-free index funds or robo-advisors or things like that. He was just buying shares in ordinary companies, well-established, dividend-paying, blue-chip companies like Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo. He didn't chase hype or tech stocks or quick flips or speculate. He held those stocks for decades, reinvesting the quarterly dividends like clockwork. Even when markets tumbled, which happened many times over his lifetime, he didn't feel any motivation to sell stock, no different than I have. Never felt the motivation, because the share price is not the company and the company is not the share price. It just isn't.
We want you to understand the 5 strategies that you can use to reduce taxes now and in the future. In fact, we wrote about them in our book, Keep Taxes Away from Your Wealth. You can get a copy of Keep Taxes Away from Your Wealth by going to keeptaxesaway.com. That's keeptaxesaway.com. Ease on over there, get a copy today.
People are still taking Tylenol, shaving, eating cereal, toasting bread when the market tumbles. And so those profits continue to be paid. But the reason I share that story and why it's so persuasive is the contrast between his external life and his internal portfolio. Like, to everyone, including his close family, he was just Ron, the janitor. Yeah. No mansions, no flashy cars or anything, right? Unbelievable. The guy even clipped coupons for God's sake. And he obviously didn't need to do that. But I call it, the last time I shared this story earlier this morning, as a matter of fact, I said, it's wealth in stealth mode. That's the best way. That's the best way I could describe it. And the power of the power of stealth, right, is that it doesn't draw attention. And his final act of quiet generosity and a legacy is what he did. Like, he left most of his fortune to charity, to his stepchildren. It was sort of that final act, I think, that nobody saw coming. And it wasn't Wall Street or a boiler room that created his fortune. It was quality dividend paying companies He was guided by a very simple decision: spend less than you make, invest regularly in these high quality companies, and never sell the stock. And so suddenly a pretty unremarkable janitor wasn't so unremarkable anymore.
Go ahead, take a look at the next episode down below, and make sure you get a copy of our book, Cash Follows the Leader. Go to cashfollows.com and get a free copy right to your inbox.